What's up, guys? Got the ceiling fan on tonight. Locking in. Here we go. All right. I got a couple of grievances to air here. Longevity people really love VO2 max and grip strength. VO2 max more than grip strength. Let's talk about it a little bit. VO2 max is calculated in liters of oxygen consumed per kilogram. That's relative VO2 max, kilogram of body weight. Absolute is just the oxygen consumption in liters. What does that mean exactly? The oxygen consumption is a measure of cardiovascular ability in totality, but a heavier person will have a higher absolute VO2 max generally, just because they are bigger and therefore using more oxygen. Therefore, it's adjusted by body weight in kilograms and is therefore a decent measure for the average person. However, as your body weight increases, VO2 max decreases, the relative one, which is the one everyone talks about. And it's therefore not a very good measure for people who are concerned with, I want to say total lean mass, but you could just say body weight generally. That is to say, if you've got a person who is 150 pounds with a VO2 max of whatever, they put on 10 pounds of lean mass, so 10 pounds of muscle, and keep their cardio the same, their oxygen consumption the same, their VO2 max will go down. So I would argue that adding that 10 pounds of lean mass and keeping the cardiovascular output the same would be a good thing, but VO2 max punishes it, which is why I'm not a huge fan of it. So alternatives, which are also much simpler to measure, VO2 max, a true VO2 max, you need to put on one of those mask things and go to a lab or something. I think the better measures for the normal person who is also interested in putting on as much muscle as possible, which I personally believe is what you should be aiming to do. Peter Attia also agrees with this, and yeah, he's a VO2 max guy, whatever. You can track your heart rate recovery, which is just how fast your heart rate comes down after some cardio, after 60 seconds, 120 seconds. There's guidelines for this online. Look up heart rate recovery. If that is trending up or is in a good range, that's a good thing. Resting heart rate is another good one. And also zone 2 output. So what wattage are you outputting at zone 2 heart rate numbers? I think these are just as good of measures. I think that these should be relatively similar no matter what your body weight is. And it's also less complicated. And you could throw mile time in there too, but that assumes you're somebody that runs. You should probably be able to run a mile though. Mile time, 5K time. Good old-fashioned, simple measures of fitness, which is what I think we should go back to generally. The other one is grip strength. It's a bit crazy to put forth that grip strength is directly responsible for longevity. There is correlation, but to me it's obvious that it's not causal entirely. It is much more likely a systemic neural efficiency due to total strength. Getting stronger will make your grip strength stronger, even if you don't train your grip strength. I think that's pretty hard to argue. So no, training your grip is probably not necessary for a longevity protocol. Although grip is relatively easy to train, I don't think it should be in your top list of priorities, especially when you've got things like pressing, upper body pulling, hinging, and squatting, which take much higher precedence than those, not to mention simply putting on muscle mass. So I think VO2 max and grip strength are proxies of health, but I don't think they're necessarily things that you need to train. I would train zone 2. Let's go back to just calling it high intensity interval training for VO2 max training, and that'll increase your ability, your absolute oxygen consumption. So those two forms of cardio, and then just basic strength training. Don't worry about these studies, because what the studies are going to say is that getting better cardio and stronger are good for longevity. Do you need to read a study for that? I don't think so.